Welcome, Utah wrestling fans. We have a special show today. We have our guest, Jason Chamberlain, assistant coach at Fresno State, and U.S. Open champion this year. Jason, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks.
We're gonna get started with talking to you and getting your thoughts on a couple things. But first, kind of want to. I guess it was your birthday the other day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
But I guess first we'll kind of talk about your competing side, and then we'll also kind of go into your coaching side with you being one of the coaches at Fresno State. But I guess to start off with competing, U.S. Open champion, went to the Final X, lost in the Final X. But give us your thoughts overall on your competing this year.
Yeah, I made a big jump, from the last couple of years. And I don't know, I just wrestled more consistently than I have. I know I've always been one of the top guys, but it was nice this year to kind of put it all together and, let people know that I am one of the top guys. And the Final X process, was a little challenging just from the format and wrestling every 3 weeks. But, you just got to roll with the punches. And I fell a little short, but I think this is a big step for me, making the national team and being able to travel overseas and get to go to those national training camps with, the other top guys throughout the year. I think that'll really help me moving forward in my competing career.
Hey, Jason, my question is to you is, you say you were like right there on the verge, you felt like you were one of the best wrestlers, but you weren't getting the results. What kept you wanting to keep going?
What was that last part?
What kept you to want to keep going? As far as keep after it. I mean, sometimes it gets discouraging.
Yeah, no, and it happens a lot, and I'm 28 now, and for wrestlers now, it's kind of getting on the older side of things. But for me, it's frustrating seeing other guys have positive results that I know that I'm better than, and I've known for my whole career, like, it's really bugged me with certain guys and knowing that I'm a better wrestler than them. And so that's really driven me. And then I spent 3 years at 65 kilograms because it was the Olympic weight. And now that I've moved up to 70 kilograms, I feel a lot more comfortable. And I'm healthy. I feel better than ever. And I think that really showed this year. Finally can hit the weight that I should be at. So just moving forward, it was frustrating at times. And a lot of people the last couple of years have been asking, like, how long I'm going to keep going. But for me, I feel like I'm just starting to hit my peak, and this is really my prime the next couple of years.
One other question I have, I got to go out and watch you wrestle in that Final leg. What was up with that pass? The second one up in the first match.
What was that?
How was that that second passivity call that they gave you in that second match?
Oh, I don't know. They called me for passivity all the matches, which usually when they call one guy, they call the other guy next. And Green did a good job controlling the center and really pressuring towards the outer side of the match, or the match base. But it's frustrating when a guy's not scoring and they're calling one guy the whole match for passivity. It doesn't make sense to me. I can understand if he's scoring points and I'm just defending the whole time, or at least making attempts. If he's shooting on me a lot, then I can understand that. But I think he took one shot attempt the first match, and then maybe one or two the second match, and that was it. So I don't know. We were wrestling in Lincoln, Nebraska. He's wrestled there in college, and he's the world silver medalist. You got to do a lot to beat that guy, and I expected him to have a little bit of an edge as far as, I don't know, referees, and I don't know. Who's going to get the calls if it's in Lincoln?
And Jason, so next year in 2019, there's Worlds again, so I'm assuming you'll be at 70 kilograms again.
Yeah.
And then the year after that is an Olympic year, right?
Yep.
And 70 kilograms isn't a weight class in the Olympics. So kind of, have you thought that far ahead yet? Or are you just kind of taking it year by year? Or kind of, what are your thoughts, in 2 years from now? Do you think you'll go down or you go up? Or have you not even really given that much thought?
I don't know. I've talked to my wife a little bit. And right now we're just focusing on making a world team and being a world champion. I've got one more year before the Olympic year, and I don't know. We'll figure it out after that. 65 was really, really hard. When I made it for the Olympic trials, my wife said, if you want to keep wrestling, you're going to have to go up weight. So I don't know. We'll see when we get there, but right now, 70 is really the perfect weight. 65, I don't even want to make. I don't want to think about making it. And it's the day of weighing, so it's a little different format now. So I might have to go up to 74 and build up a little bit more.
Hey,
go ahead, Brian.
Jason, talk a little bit about Abby and what she did for the process. I know she's the daughter of a great wrestling coach.
Yeah.
She knows what it's about. You're trying to build her in the coach. Got a lot going on. What is her role in helping you prepare for competition?
She does a lot. She's like my biggest support system, and she critiques me at times, and I don't know. She's learned a lot of knowledge from her dad and just being around wrestling her whole life. And most of the time, she'll mention things to me or notice things in my training or my wrestling before the coaches will tell me. And then I'll come home and kind of reiterate it, like, hey, the coaches told me to do this today. And she was like, well, yeah, I told you to do that a few weeks ago. And I was like, yeah, I'm telling you, you're right. you're telling me the right things. And this year, she's really bought in to trying to make everything easy for me in my training and being disciplined, going to bed on time, making sure I have meals and everything that I need to recover. Just, all that little stuff that athletes have to do. She's really stepped up this year and did a lot more than we have in the past. And we kind of talked together as a family and a couple is what we need to do to kind of make that jump. Because there for a few years I was, sixth on the ladder and not really making many gains. So we knew we had to make some changes. So he's been a big part of my success, probably the biggest, out of anybody. And I think that helped a lot is, her dad being involved with wrestling growing up and just, being with that family. It's one of the most successful families in Utah, with Tyson and Rick. They've been some of the most successful wrestlers in the state.
Well, thank you, Jason.
And Jason, so competing wise, you're going to be definitely competing, one year at a time, working on the Worlds and possibly the Olympics after that. But in between all that, you're one of the assistant coaches at Fresno.
Yeah.
You've been there for how many years? Is it 1 year or two? How long have they been there?
Just about 2. I just finished. It'll be 2 years next month, so not quite 2 years.
And right now at Fresno State, do you guys have? I know Owen Pence, signed with you guys. He's gone on a mission right now.
Yep.
Are there any other Utah kids, or will he be the first?
He'll be the first right now, but hopefully we get some more. Selfishly, I always like the Utah kid, and I don't know. I know there's a lot of talent in the state, and I know that's one of the states that's a little overlooked as far as talent goes, but I think it's great for Fresno State to have wrestling in the West just to give another option for the Utah kids to stay closer to home. Because if they don't go to Utah Valley, or the only other really program close by is like ASU or Wyoming. So I think just having more programs out west and giving guys more opportunities is good for Utah as a state.
And you guys do have two UVU transfers, right? That are wrestling with you guys, right?
Yeah, they're originally from Fresno Valley, though. So they're local kids that went to Utah Valley and then basically came back home.
And how are they? Because they wrestled their redshirt year at UVU, transferred out to you guys, and how are they doing? I know you're 49, right? He's doing pretty good.
Olivas, he was an NCAA qualifier last year. He went 1-2 at national, so I think he'll be, one of the leaders and, hopefully one of our successful guys to step up next year. I think he needed that year. Last year was really his first year of NCAA competition, so he learned a lot, and I think moving forward he'll be more prepared he's got 2 years left. So.
Well, one of the questions I had, as a coach at Fresno State, kind of give us a rundown, kind of what it's like to be a coach in college of college wrestling. What's your day look like? What do you spend the majority of your time doing? Obviously, I'm assuming your job as the assistant coach is different than the head coach and what you do and your roles. But kind of give us a look at what a typical day looks like or what you spend your time doing.
Okay, so we usually wake up. We have at least 2 workouts a day. Usually in the morning we have a run or a lift. Sometimes a drill, depending on the time of year. And then after that, we go to the office and do some office work. We do recruiting, just administrative stuff in the office. There's always stuff going on. And we spend most of the day in the office really watching. Well, depending on the time of year, again, we'll be recruiting sometimes of the year. During our season, we're mostly working on our guys, watch film and recruit, or kind of scout our upcoming opponents. And then we'll go to practice, kind of put a game plan together for the week of training. And then the afternoon, we'll have wrestling practice. And then we'll go home, spend the night with my family. This upcoming season, we're changing our schedule a little bit. And we're gonna have wrestling practice at 9 a.m. every day, and then we're gonna have our weight workout or our running cardio workouts in the afternoon. So we're gonna try it out. We talked to a couple other programs that have tried it and we really like the change of pace, and so we're gonna go with it for the first semester and see how it goes. But when you think about it, most wrestling competition started about 9 a.m. So it's going to prepare our guys for, tournaments and, competitions they go to. You have to wrestle at 9 a.m. and be ready to go. So, and we won't have to wake up at 6 a.m. anymore for lifts and stuff like that. That gets really old throughout the season. Letting our guys in a little bit will be nice.
Well,
go ahead.
Well, you're in the Fresno Valley there. There's some great wrestling in that area, and it seems like Fresno can get going again pretty quick. Other new programs, you got a talent-rich area. You got a little bit of tradition. Got some former NCAA champions wrestlers there. Is that exciting to have things in your corner as you kind of get going with Fresno and get that program going the right direction?
Yeah, I think that was the big appeal about coming to Fresno, is everyone knows it's a hotbed for wrestling. So The local talent's huge. Our support in the Valley is awesome. You know, we were 5th in the country for attendance this last year in home duels. We had almost 5,000 fans on average. In our first duel, we had 7,000. So that's been really cool to see our guys, you know, wrestling in that atmosphere. And the teams coming in have really noticed too. Our marketing department have done a great job promoting our matches and, you know, making it a fun atmosphere that our guys get pumped up to wrestle. So that whole package, I think, is very appealing, especially for recruits. And, you know, as for me as a coach, it's like, what other opportunity would I have to go to build your team from scratch in a place that there's talent locally and there, you know, 5,000 fans that are trying to bust through the door at every meeting. And then it all starts from our president. So he's behind it 100%. And going forward, I think it'll be, you know, one of the top programs, you know, pretty soon. We just got to do our job.
That's got to be a good selling point. I mean, you know, any kids, high school kids, you know, dads, whoever watching, I mean, wrestling in front of 5,000, 7,000 fans. I mean, that's a pretty neat thing. I mean, you know, UVU right now, I don't even know what their attendance is, but I know it's not 5,000 or 7,000. But you know, yeah. I can imagine, you know, with 5,000 or 7,000 fans, that's got to be a fun environment. I mean, I guess talk just quickly about that environment. I mean. Do you guys, I think if I remember right, when UVU wrestled you guys had a spotlight as well. And kind of give us a quick 30-second rundown of that atmosphere, just so people listening kind of understand, you know, if they do go to Fresno, what kind of atmosphere they're going to be in.
Yeah, so we have a spotlight every match. The lights are out, so all that attention is on the mat. Then we have a big blown up bulldog that our wrestlers will run out to get on the mat. There's fog. There's cheerleaders, you know, flag holders that run around the mat. After you win, they throw out t-shirts and I don't know, they pump it up a lot. It's almost like a concert. So the cheerleaders, I think this last year, my wife talked to them and they said that wrestling is the funnest event that they cheer at. So they request to go to the wrestling matches. And this is from people that don't know what wrestling is like. They didn't know what to expect. They don't know how wrestling works. And they've kind of rolled with the punches and just made a good production out of it. Our marketing department had never seen a wrestling match until we took them to the Clovis Buchanan duel the first year we were on campus, because we didn't have a team. And we just said, this is what our dual meet should be like on a bigger scale. And that dual meet has, you know, 4,000 fans jam-packed in a little tiny gym with a spotlight and just the whole 9 yards. So they've been trying to kind of one-up that duel since then, and I think they've done a huge job with that. And I get frustrated when we go on the road and there's gyms with, you know, a couple hundred people and you can hear a pin drop on it. It's just not good for wrestling. We need that crowd in that environment. It's just good for everybody. For the sport of wrestling, I think people should be more excited to do dual meets. So
what do you think needs to be done there to make that happen in these other places that's possibly going on in Fresno?
Yeah, well, I think the community helps a lot, you know, and it helps that we have a lot of local kids on our team, because there's a lot of family and friends and a ton of people that want to go watch them. But I think eventually, you know, we got to keep winning to keep those fans coming. So that's what we're working on.
I think it's great, like, you know, wrestling places that kind of make, like you said, make it like a concert, make it a show, make it a production, instead of just, hey, you know, this is just a wrestling match, come watch wrestling. You know, it's come enjoy the show, come enjoy the production.
Yeah,
and that's what's going to draw people in.
Yeah, well, last year we only won one duel, so people kept on coming back, and we got our butts kicked a couple times. So, yeah, I think the atmosphere helps a lot with that. And we're always trying to make creative ideas. We have little foam fingers with like a 2 takedown with the 2. And then there's the green V for the Valley V was the 2, because that's huge in Fresno. The Valley is what they call it for the agriculture. It's required to have on all our uniforms and our competition singlets. There's a V somewhere on it, and that's how every sport is, just to kind of represent the agriculture of the Valley. A lot of our boosters are farmers and I don't know, people in the agriculture. So that was kind of unique. We're always trying to think of new ideas to get people to come out and be excited. So,
well, I think that's cool. Well, last question I have for you.
Okay.
And then, Nate and Brian, whatever you guys have. For kids, in Utah or wherever, high school and youth kids, if they're wanting to wrestle in college, I guess 2-part question. If they're wanting to wrestle in college, what advice do you give them? And the second question would be, the kid wants to wrestle at Fresno State. What can they do? Because I know, obviously you guys as coaches are watching and looking, but I mean, you guys obviously can't have eyes everywhere. So, if there's a kid kind of under the radar, maybe he's like, I want to go wrestle at Fresno State. What can he do to either grab your attention? Just obviously, he can look you up and email you, or I mean, what would be his best route to get seen by you guys as coaches at Fresno State?
Yeah, so I think first and foremost, I think getting exposure and getting out there at tournaments is good. But so many competitions are watered down now that it's hard to notice everybody at competition. So if not a tournament, like we have a bunch of camps that we do. Coming to our camps and just getting around our coaching staff is huge, just so we get to know you and really get to know what type of kid you are, because sometimes the best wrestlers out there are not the best guys that you want on your college team. There's a lot more that goes into it academically, and just discipline and the type of person you are goes a long ways. So we get a lot of emails. We have questionnaires online that you can fill out, and I go through those a lot and just try to see who fills them out. And there's some names that I'll notice and get back to the ones that I think have some potential. But like you said, there's so many different competitions out there, and it's hard to see everybody, obviously. So I think if somebody's interested in Fresno State, you should definitely feel free to email any of our staff, and then try to get to one of our camps. We try to do a lot of camps we do one in Fresno. We did one last year in Reno, one in Sacramento this year. We always do one in San Diego. So we try to, and then we come out. Well, I went to Utah this year to the Wasatch camp, and Coach Steiner did too. And we do some other camps out of state. So, yeah, just getting out there and competing. First off, if you're successful at tournaments, everyone's going to notice you. But if you're not able to make it to those, that would be the next best option, is just getting to one of the camps or getting some face-to-face time with the coaching staff. Goes a long ways for me.
If you had to pick one tournament that if a kid was traveling out of state, he's like, I can go to one national tournament to get recognized, what tournament would you advise him to do?
Does it matter what style?
No, just as a coach of Fresno State, if there's a kid that said, hey, I want to be seen, what tournament, but I can only go to one tournament, what tournament would you tell them?
Well, I think the only true national tournament nowadays is Fargo. So I would say that one for sure. And it shows a commitment to wrestle year round, because a lot of kids don't train in the off season. So it's hard to get to Fargo. So for me, that shows a couple different things. Even if you don't place, going out there and getting matches and, shows your commitment to wrestling. So that's one of the main reasons why we contacted Owen Pence. I didn't know much about him, but I knew he took second at Fargo, and then I got to know him more and was really impressed with him as a kid. And he's one of the guys I look forward to having on the team here in a couple of years. So, but that just started from Fargo.
Nate, Brian, you guys have any last minute questions?
I was going to ask you about Owen Pence, but you kind of answered it. So I was going to ask you what's turned you on.
Yeah, I think his potential and his upside is off the charts. Just being from his background, and I think his wrestling IQ is relatively low for the amount of exposure and the success that he had. So I think when he gets back, I really look forward to having him in the room and just seeing his progression. Once he gets around our coaching staff and our guys, I think he's just going to explode. So he's a guy that I'm really excited about.
He reminds me of Draga from Rocky IV.
Yeah, definitely. He's got that length for sure.
Yeah, he's long and tall, and he's got a square face just like him. So big kid, big strong kid. What are you looking to have him wrestle? 197?
Yeah, I think so. I've contacted him a few times, through email. He said he's getting pretty big, but he said he's going to get back down to where he needs to be once he gets back. But yeah, I think he'll be probably a 97-pounder. Just with his length and body type, I don't think he's big enough to be a heavyweight, and I think he'd have a hard time cutting a lot of weight. So I've never been a big advocate of cutting a lot of weight.
Well, Jason, Brian, did you have any last-minute questions for Jason?
Yeah, thank you. I'm good. Thank you.
Hey, well, Jason, thanks for coming on today.
All right.
We appreciate you taking time. I know you're a busy guy with competing and coaching and everything you got going on. So thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me on. Let me know if you guys ever want me back.
We will, for sure. You can count on that.
Jason, pleasure. So happy having you on everybody in the family and so forth. You know mine.
Yeah. Sounds good.
All right. Thanks again.
Thanks, Jason.
Yeah. See you guys.
All right. So now, we're going to let Jason take off if you'd like. We're going to touch real quick. Got a couple things in Utah wrestling we want to touch on. We've had, the national duels, schoolboy, cadet, and junior duels. We did not place top 8 in any of those. Nate, did you go out to the junior duels?
No, I didn't.
Didn't go out. And Brian, I know you didn't, but no. Nate had a boy on the team. But, with turf wars in Pocatello, we won in the elementary division and the high school division. Our middle school team take, I think, 3rd and 4th in Greco and freestyle. But, this year, real quick, was my first year going up to the turf wars in Pocatello. I actually had a lot of fun up there this year, and I'm excited for next year already and heading back up there. But anyways, Nate, Brian, did you guys have any quick thoughts on the duels this year and any of the duels?
My frustration is we can't get all of our number 1 guys out. I think we could be a top 8 team year in and year out, but it seems like we have 3 or 4 kids drop off at the last minute, or things come up, and so it gets frustrating. You're so close to a couple of those matches, and you're like, oh man, if we had 1 or 2, number 1s, you could see us getting into that final.
Yeah, our teams are super close in the duels, schoolboy, cadet, and juniors. Like Nate said, a couple other kids, and we're in there. We're in the top 8. It would be nice to be able to get our number 1s every year, but something we'll keep working on and taking our teams back. So real quick before we end,
can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
talk about these events a little bit, maybe who shined, who surprised before you get. Is there anybody that really performed well that you said, wow, I didn't expect that?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the kids that go undefeated, it's not. I'm not surprised, I guess. I know, a couple kids real quick. I think Andrew Jensen went undefeated in one style or both or something. Jordan Davies as well. I think Kyson may have as well. Garcia. Probably the kid, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nate, the kid that helped himself out the most, and this will maybe lead into our next quick discussion before we close, is Isaac Wilcox. Isaac goes out there, he's ranked, on Flow rankings at top 20, I think, but he goes out to junior duels and he beats some of the top ranked kids in the country, and new rankings come out, and Isaac's ranked number 2 in the country right now at 152 on the Flow rankings. So I would say if I had to choose one, he definitely helped himself out the most as far as rankings go. So that was probably the biggest thing there. Talk about the rankings. Cade Carlson, Corner Canyon 220 is also ranked. I think, Nate, is he 19 or 20? Do you know off the top of your head?
I thought he was 19.
Yeah.
So 19. So we have two guys ranked in the top 20 on Flow rankings. And then also on the girls' side, we have 3 girls ranked in the top. I think they're all in the top 6. So you got Sage Mortimer right now is ranked number 6 at 100. And then you got Kirsten Bush, who's ranked number 6 at 117. And then you got Marlon Deedy, who's ranked number 5 at 164. Three girls that are doing very well. And all 3, I do believe, will be at Fargo with a chance to kind of move up even more. So have overall 5 kids ranked in Utah in the rankings, which is pretty good. Isaac, at Fargo, he'll be wrestling for a chance at probably a golden ticket for who's number 1, don't you think?
I think so.
Oh,
I mean, he's ranked number 2. If he wins Fargo, I would hope at least he'll get a golden ticket. Maybe not. I don't know. And for those that don't know, Flow Wrestling puts on a show called Who's Number 1. It's a dual meet to kind of decide who's number 1, who's number 2 in the country. And at Fargo, they give out golden tickets. So if you win Fargo and they want you like 100%, they'll give you a golden ticket. Now, not everybody that wins Fargo gets a golden ticket. But, I think, if Isaac's number 2 right now, he wins Fargo, I think there could be a good chance he could get a golden ticket, right?
Well, definitely.
That's what's so remarkable about Utah wrestling. It's like you have the incredible accomplishments of Brock Hardy, and then here comes Isaac Wilcox. It's like we could do some sort of things. I know our former wrestling coach, Nathaniel Holt, that works with him a lot, and says he's really impressive and doesn't surprise me if he's a great wrestler, even went up.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting. I mean, like you said, you had Brock last year, and then Isaac comes out and is one of the top kids in the country as well this year. So
not to embarrass him too much, or hope make Nate proud. Stock doing incredible things. Just keeps coming and coming. You guys are doing a great job, Jim.
Yep.
It's cultivating the talent. Great.
So, Fargo's next week, which will be exciting to see kind of how we do out there. And like Coach Chamberlain said, the one tournament he would choose if he had to choose one would be Fargo. So all those of you out there wanting to wrestle in college, get to Fargo next year. If not this year, get to Fargo next year. Get your name out there.
I think it's important to also know he didn't say he had to win or even place of course, programs like Iowa, Penn State, they're going to be looking at the people that are, placing 1 and 2 and in there. These lower tier programs, they're just looking for guys that are willing to go out there and compete, maybe win a couple matches. I can't stress enough, get out and what you think, Jeff.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, just get out there and compete, and like Jason said, it shows your commitment. It shows that you're into wrestling. So, get out to Fargo. Obviously, this year might be a little too late, but next year, start planning and start saving, and come out with Team Utah. I mean, it definitely can help for sure. So, anyways,
I think the high school thing. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
That Ringo and Iron Man really help. That's where I was coaching Daniel. He got on the radar with Central Michigan and was doing well. I think there are some good high school tournaments documented there that you could do well out there and get on the radar of those coaches.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of tournaments that you can get on radars. I agree. And I hadn't talked to Jason about that before I asked him. I was kind of interested to see kind of what he'd say, being put on the spot there. So,
but Fargo is it.
Yeah. Well, wrestling fans, hope you enjoyed our guest speaker, our guest Jason Chamberlain. We'll definitely have him on again in the future. And if you wanted to go to Fresno State, reach out. Like you said, don't be scared to give him an email and let him know you're interested. And we got Fargo next week, Fargo camp this week, and then summer wrestling's wrapping up. So, anyways, we'll be back in a couple weeks.
One thing before we go.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry about that. I just wanted to say something to the Wasatch Wrestling family about the passing of Dallin, and wishes Dallin really well, Wasatch family well. This losses, and know that the broader wrestling community wishes him well.
Yes, definitely. I saw that and wish them well for sure. So, anyways, thanks for listening tonight.
Thanks. Good seeing you, man.
Good to see you, Brian.
Thanks for being on, Brian and Nate.
Okay.
We'll be back in a couple weeks.